Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Claire Ackers here, coming to you live from Sunnybank Mills in Farsley. It's Thursday morning, it's grey, it's wet, it's miserable, it's absolutely tipping it down out there. But I am lovely and toasty warm in the office. I've got my slippers on, I've got my office blanket, I've got my festive mug that I just found in the back of the cupboard. And I've got my candle on. I don't know if you can see it flickering there in the background, but I've got my candle on, so we're nice and cozy in here. And I get to talk to you, so that's lovely. That's always my little treat on a Thursday to have a little chat. So if you are watching this live, please say hello in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, then please say hello with hashtag replay, so I know who is out there. And if you are catching up a little bit later on the podcast or on YouTube, hello to you too. And I shall raise my peppermint tea, Festive Edition, to you. So I'm a little bit later than normal today because this morning I managed to achieve something that I've been trying to achieve all year, which is to go to one of Georgie Linsky's G&T, that's Girls and Tech networking sessions in Leeds. And I made it this morning and it was just lovely. I was channeling Mariah, so I had my red formal coat on, my red wool coat, and I had a white beret, just feeling a bit of Mariah Carey there, so that was nice. But it was such a lovely warm room, and I haven't been before. And it just reminded me why I love networking. When you get in the room with your tribe, when you get in a room with the right people, and believe me, there are some networking events I've gone to which are definitely not the right people. It is just uplifting, and it's why I love Lean in Leeds, the community that I'm chair of, as well. Because every time you go to a networking event with the right people in the room, you just leave feeling elevated. You leave feeling 10 feet tall. So hats off to Georgie and the team for creating a fantastic event. I met up with some lovely people I knew already, and met some really lovely other ones as well. And they did a fantastic thing, which was, well, first of all, they had gingerbread lady decorating, which was really fun. But they also had a wall of appreciation where people could nominate people in their community for the contribution they make, which I think was an excellent idea. So I'm feeling the love today. I'm definitely feeling the love. But today, what I want to talk about is my top tips if you are feeling like a festive superwoman. So I talk about the pressure to be superwoman a lot. This is the festive edition because I think we need to talk about this because there is so much pressure at this time of year. It is a lot at this time of year, isn't it? It's a lot to hold, especially if you are a high achiever archetype and or a control freak archetype like me. I would say recovering, but I'm very much a high achiever, control freak type personality. And I am having a lot of chats at the moment with my clients, with my community, with my peers about the perfect storm that the festive season is bringing to all this stuff. I did a post a little bit earlier on this week on Tuesday, I think it was, about the 10 signs that you might have festive imposter syndrome. So do go and check that out. We'll try and put a link to that article in the notes for this. But today's conversation with you is all about the pressure that we feel to be festive superwoman, to be superwoman festive edition. So we're going to have a chat about how to recognize if this is you. And we are also going to chat about my top tips of what you can do about it. If you are feeling all this pressure and you are just not feeling it this year, you are just not feeling Christmassy this year for whatever reason. So please enjoy the conversation and don't forget to let me know what you think of this one. If you are new to my world, my name is Claire Ackers. I'm an authenticity coach, which is a totally made up job title, which is one of the joys of owning your own business, right? You get to make up your own job title. But I help women stand in their power, and authority and get rid of imposter syndrome and grow aligned and impactful companies. So, how do you know if you are a festive superwoman? So, let me know if this resonates. You may have lists coming out of your ears. You've got them written in your notebook, you've got them on your computer, you've got them on your phone, you've got voice notes where you're reminding yourself to add things to the list. You might have a color-coded spreadsheet where every member of the family has their own color, including the in-laws that you have coming to stay. And you are just juggling so many things, so much kids admin, um, all the lists, all the things, so that you are petrified of dropping a ball somewhere and just getting it wrong. You know, there's a real pressure that you're putting on yourself to be a perfectionist. If you are festive superwoman, you have probably thought of everything. You have got everything covered. You have covered cards for the neighbours. You have sorted teachers' presents, and probably you're organising the class present, and you're making a collection and made sure you haven't forgotten the TAs. You remembered presents for the postman. You have got a movie schedule of your top 10 films to watch at Christmas, and you've probably already noted which channel they are available on. You've done a Christmas audit for the family. What traditions work well for you? What traditions you would like to let go of? What traditions you would like to introduce and double down on? You've got trips planned. You know when you're seeing Santa and at what venue. You've booked ice skating. You've made sure that everybody's got enough hats and gloves and enough paraphernalia. You have got the Christmas performances in your calendar. You've booked the time off work and you are attending both performances because you would hate it for your child to look up and see you not in the audience. You have got your in-laws visit planned in, including having booked in an extra clean to make sure that everything is sparkling and you are not being judged in some way. You've got the online food delivery all organised and sorted for Christmas and New Year week. You have got a New Year's walk planned in. Now, I find it very easy to come up with this list because this is basically peering into my brain and the conversations that I've been having with people this week. So I'm saying it a bit tongue in cheek, but just let me know if any of this resonates with you. Oh, Christmas manicure as well. I forgot making sure that your nails are a nice festive colour. And I'm laughing because getting organised is a good thing, right? Um, if you've got a busy life, if you and your other half both work, even if you're on your own, even if one of you doesn't work, even if you've got kids, even if you haven't got kids, there is a lot to do at this time of year. Us getting organised can be a really, really good thing. And it feels really good, right, to have your shit together and be getting things done and feel like you can hold everything, you know, that you can hold everything at this time of year. But the problem is how you feel. That is the problem here. It's how doing all this stuff is making you feel. Um, and if you're really, really honest, how you are feeling is disconnected and a little bit numb and a little bit you just can't be bothered this year. You know, you're frustrated because you want to make it magical. You want to recreate and bring the magic for the kids that you and your husband had when you were a kid. But for some reason, it just isn't happening for you this year. If you're honest, you're just not feeling sparkly. And maybe you feel a little bit like a mama bear. You know, you want to just hibernate, go to sleep, and come back in January when normal service is resumed. So let me know if you resonate with any of this. Let me know if any of this is making sense. But here are my top tips of what you can do about this and actually enjoy this time of year. So, number one is embrace the joy of JOMO. So, you've heard of FOMO, fear of missing out. My advice to you, my first top tip, is to embrace the joy of JOMO, the joy of missing out. And this is basically saying no to stuff. This is that feeling of relief when you've got a thing in your calendar that you've been dreading, maybe you're not looking forward to it, maybe you felt pressure to say yes and it's really not your thing, and you decline it, or you leave early, or you decide not to drink. Basically, you set a boundary and say no to something. And it's that feeling of relief that you get from voting for you and what you really need. So that's tip number 1, embrace JOMO. Tip number 2 is do something meaningful to you. Just taking some time, booking it out in your calendar if you need to, putting a hard boundary around it, and doing something meaningful to you. So something that I've done this week is so to come back to the first tip, I went to 4 Christmas parties last week, which as an introvert is a lot for me. And don't get me wrong, they were all gorgeous invites and I really, really enjoyed them and I really, really loved the people. But you should have seen me on Monday morning this week. I was exhausted. And so to incorporate tip number 1, tip number 2 being do something meaningful for you, I've decided to slow the F down this week and do something meaningful to me. Now, I like to be honest in these conversations. So what is meaningful to me this week is I didn't know about this, but I noticed there was a new Jilly Cooper book out. I love a Jilly Cooper. I love nothing more. I mean, it's the most anti-feminist thing in the world. But I love nothing more than escaping into the world of Taggy and Rupert Campbell Black and horses and love affairs. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. So last night I got my Jilly Cooper, the hardback version. I got a nice bubble bath and I just shut the door for an hour. Now, of course, I had the kids knocking on the door within 5 minutes, like in that book, 5 Minutes Peace. But the point is, I took some time for me and I feel so much more refreshed for that little bit of escapism. So that's number 2, do something meaningful to you. Tip number 3 is set a boundary. Just set a boundary. Where are you being a people pleaser? Who can you say no thank you to? Thank you very much for thinking of me, but that's not for me right now. Or I need to do this thing, or that's not, no is a complete sentence. No, that's not for me. What are your priorities right now? So that's tip number 3, set a boundary. And I know it's not easy. I appreciate it's not easy. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of difficult relationships with family members to take into consideration, but try it. It's liberating saying no. Now, number 4 is interesting. Tip number 4 is interesting, which is work with the season. Why is it in December when it's winter, it's cold, the leaves, the trees are bare, we are supposed to be hibernating? Why is it that we put so much pressure on ourselves to be vivacious and sparkling and full of joy and jolliness and just twinky lights and excitement? The invitation here is to slow down and to just hibernate and to let things go. So that's tip number 4, is to work with the season. And yeah, just slow down a little bit and release what needs to be released. And then I guess in a similar vein is number 5, which is to journal. I love journaling, but the purpose of this journaling is to reconnect with yourself. If you're so busy rushing around like a headless chicken, being a perfectionist, doing things for everybody else, the invitation with the idea of number 5 to journal is to reconnect with yourself. You cannot pour from an empty festive cup. I always get asked about some suggestions for journaling. So here are 3 questions that you could journal on. Number 1 is, what could I let go of? What do I want to let go of? What's no longer serving me? What do I want to release? Question 2 is, what brings joy to me? Where can I find my joy? And then question 3 is, what seeds do I want to plant for next year? It helps you focus on what's important to you. And brings the focus back on you if you are rushing around doing things for other people. And then finally, tip number 6 is being aware of the voice. Tuning in to that imposter, tuning into that inner critic, being aware of what that little voice is whispering to you about why you're putting pressure on yourself. Whose voice is it? And my favorite question, people who've been in my world for a while will be really familiar with this question. What am I making it mean? What am I making it mean if I drop a ball? What am I making it mean if everything doesn't go perfectly? What am I making it mean if I say no to something? If I take some time for me, if I get something wrong? Be mindful of your patterns. Where are you putting pressure on yourself? And just to make you aware as well, is that your imposter syndrome can be really, really strong at this time of year. There's something about all this pressure, this perfect storm of festivities and people and all the relationships. And just be mindful of where that imposter might be popping up to try and sabotage you. Try and sabotage any joy that you are bringing, to try and keep you in your comfort zone, to try and keep you in the old familiar patterns, even if they are not serving you. So that's pretty much all I want to say about being Festive Superwoman. Let me know which of the top tips resonate with you. Let me know if you try them. Let me know how they land for you. And if you would like my help to get a handle on this stuff, I want to make one last invitation to you. The doors for my Imposter to Impact Academy are about to close tomorrow, actually, Friday. But there is just time for you to join if you suspect that you should be with us. Just imagine going into this festive season feeling liberated from your imposter, with a clear head, with a sense of peace and freedom and liberation from that imposter syndrome. And then knowing that you are supported by a proven program of transformation in order to make 2024 your best year yet. And we have just announced an extended payment plan as well. So if cost is a consideration, then let's have a chat, because there is a way to make it affordable for you. Just drop me a line and we can have a chat about whether it is a good fit for you and your circumstances. So that is it for today. Thank you for being here. Let me know what has resonated with you from this conversation, and I will see you very soon. All right, take care.